All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome in to the Perennial semifinals. I'm super excited to be here for El Dupa versus Very Cool. It is our closest matchup in the winner's bracket by seeding right now between the second seed and third seeds out of qualifiers. These teams have looked extremely good all throughout the bracket stage from both sides. El Dupa not dropping a single point so far in 3 matches through the bracket stage, and Very Cool putting up some of the best scores every single weekend on a wide variety of maps in the map pool. My name is Dio, and I'm going to be taking you through this match alongside my boy Demarsh. Hello, Demarsh. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dio. Look at these teams. It's very rare that you actually get to see the top 4 teams in a tournament, based purely on seeding, actually still be in the winner's bracket. Very rare opportunity. So the fact we get to see a second or third place match in the winner's bracket at this stage is pretty exciting, to be honest. There's a chance that these teams will play off again. So it's a good way to gauge which team is stronger on this of a slightly easier pool. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I am super excited for this match, not only because, as you said, it's very rare to see all 4 of your top 4 seeded teams advance into the winner's bracket. So not only do we get seed 2 versus seed 3 here, but later today, in about 3 hours, we're going to be seeing the top seed Microwave Lobster versus the 4th seed Bob, both of who have also looked really fantastic throughout the tournament. But also because the strengths of these rosters really cannot be understated. You have just some absolutely ridiculous players on both of these teams. If you told me in 2018 or 2017 that a team with Rafis and Cookiesy playing on it existed, I would just call that the best tournament team that you could possibly put together. But then on the other side, you also have, for example, Emrek and Whitecat on the same team for Very Cool. Then that's not even to mention like all of the other absolutely incredible players that are on both of these teams. I think a lot of people would put Kriller, Akoro, Utami, Akolibed, Malteser, and Michni as well as some of the best tournament players that are around, particularly Utami and Akoro, who have been just absolute monsters as of recent. Alongside for Very Cool, Zudinator, Bubbleman, Taquito, Fiery Rage, all absolutely top tier tournament players, and then joined by Sawada and Angel Kana as kind of the specialists to round out the roster. I think really makes a very, very scary roster for both of these teams. That said, we do already have a couple of bands here put together. The Hidden 2 band from Very Cool and Hard Rock 1 band from El Dupa. Very Cool has been one of the best Hard Rock 1 teams in the tournament so far. And El Dupa having some very, very scary hidden reading players. I think those bands are making a lot of sense. And now into a No Mod 5 first pick for El Dupa. Potentially aware that one of the players that is key to that speed roster for Very Cool is actually missing from this match. So we may see a little bit more of that speed abuse come through in this match from time to time for these teams. Just to talk about this No Mod 5 real quick. Monochrome Voice, originally mapped for Osu Japan tournament in 2021. 240 BPM, just focused entirely on bursts and streams at this BPM. No funny business going on in this map whatsoever. It really is just going to be whichever team is better at speed and at those higher BPM streams is going to be the one to win out on this map. Very, very solid speed rosters for both of these teams. Again, we kind of saw during the intro sequence there, players like Malteser, Akolibed, Rafis likely to come in for this for El Dupa. Sawada, Kana, Taquito, and Emrek right now in for Very Cool at the moment.
And I think as well the strategy here for Very Cool should be pretty straightforward. They know that second ban phase is going to be coming up, so I really don't see them picking anything else that isn't these speed DT maps. to be honest. I think they'll want to try and get as many of these in there before the ban phase actually happens, or the second ban phase, because you know that El Dupa is going to try and take out another speedier map.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who are just joining us or who are watching this tournament for the first time, in the Perennial, we do staggered bans. So the first ban from each team comes out right at the start of the map. That was the Hidden 2 ban from Very Cool and the Hard Rock 1 ban from El Dupa. But each team will give their second ban after 4 maps have been played. So at that point, you really are kind of looking to really make use of that initial period where you have your first 2 picks that are unhindered by what would usually be 2 bans at the start of this match. That said, a couple early breaks for Malteser and Angel Kana at the start of this match. Everybody else holding on to the full combo so far. 3-way SS at the moment for El Dupa, with Utami, Akolibet, and Chocoment still holding all those SSs.
Yeah, it's just another day at the office, isn't it, really, to start off this for El Dupa. Yeah, no real change here. Do expect them to... I was expecting El Dupa, I guess, to struggle a little more on this, but apparently not. This is what happens when you have second and third seed fighting against each other, and big breaks there. Sawada, Chocomin, and Malteser all finding breaks there. And Takano as well.
It does leave us with a pretty even game state again, though. 2 full combos to 2 here. And actually, Sawada's break was a Bancho miss. It did not actually happen. Takedo going to finally follow it up with a break of his own for Very Cool. That does leave Sawada and Emrek to hold on to the full combos for them against Akolibet and Utami, with matching full combos on the other side for El Dupa. And this first pick for El Dupa, for Very Cool, is looking...
Very
a little interesting. This is the first pick for El Dupa, so this, again, is a pick that makes sense. We finally see a break come through for Sawada. Emrek now the only full combo for Very Cool's side, as Utami and Akolibet continue to hold these FCs, and as long as they are able to hold, this score will go over to El Dupa's side pretty convincingly here at the end. It was very, very close all throughout the map, though, until we saw that final break from Sawada. It was anyone's map. Akolibet does drop at the end as well, so if Sawada had held, it could have made the difference for Very Cool, but not going to be the case here, as Utami and Akolibet hold almost until the end of the map, leaving only Emrek to match them on the side of Very Cool. That is 7 100s for both Akolibet and Utami on the side of El Dupa. 4 100s for Chocoment with 1 miss on that map. Very clearly 3 players who are super, super strong on these speed picks here to start out the match for them.
Yeah, it was an interesting choice of lineup today for Very Cool. I definitely expected, players like White Cat to come in for a map like that. Was very surprised not to see him in. But otherwise, yeah, El Dupa, very strong pick. I didn't realize, I thought Very Cool had picked No Mod 5. So everything I said before about this being, Very Cool strategy, it's just El Dupa's strategy. But still a very good first pick.
We're probably going to be seeing some of the same types of maps for Very Cool that we have seen in previous weekends. They've tended to go for a lot of the either tech-focused or alt-focused or aim-focused picks. And that's the big thing that these 3 types of picks have in common, whether it's the aim consistency like your Nomad 1 or Hard Rock 1, or whether it's your kind of aim control picks, namely the alt and tech maps in a map pool. Very Cool have players who are extremely strong on that type of skill set, and who can just absolutely demolish these sorts of maps. And I expect to see a few of them come in here, players like Zoodinator, like Emrek, like White Cat, even like Fiery Rage on a map like this, honestly speaking. Players like Takedo also able to sub in on a map like this completely fine. If Bubbleman is here, he could also sub in for a map like this. But given that we didn't see Bubbleman on No Mod 5, I'm going to assume that he is not here for Very Cool.
Yeah, and that isn't... It can't... it's definitely not a good thing. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's doomed either. I definitely think it is going to make Very Cool have to pick a little smarter here. But all things considered, there's such a strong lineup that all I think it does is just gives them a weakness that El Dupa can kind of exploit. I don't think it's a be-all and end-all for this match. But it depends how essential Bubble Man was to some of those earlier maps.
Well, I do think it would probably still be the same strategy for El Dupa, even if Bubble Man were here. I think that generally we saw it on the last map, right? Just subbing in Bubble Man doesn't erase the act difference that we saw in No Mod 5. So there's still a very clear comfort difference on those sorts of speed picks between these two teams. And I think the strategy would still be the same for El Dupa. It would just be a little bit harder to pull off. That said, I believe El Dupa should be missing one member as well. I'm not sure who it is at the moment, but during scheduling talks between these two teams, they essentially are agreeing to a 7v7 in this matchup rather than an 8v8, and so should be even standing for both of them. We'll have to see exactly who's missing for El Dupa later on in this match, see if we can't figure it out here as we get through a few of these other picks. Now getting into No Mod 1, this map Cinderella Maker, originally made for the OS World Cup last year, but was scrapped once the custom song that they had for No Mod 1 was actually able to be mapped, and so this is essentially what would have been OWC Grand Finals No Mod 1 last year. Here in semifinals, because a lot of the maps in OWC, the AIM maps in particular, are a little bit easier than I think you would expect for that sort of round, given the rest of the pool. And so, even in semifinals, this map's still fitting with a lot of the rest of the picks that we have here. A couple of early breaks for several players, Fiery Rage and Chocolate, both trading misses there. Everyone else still holding on to the full combos at the moment.
So it looks like we've got Chuckermint and Fiery are the first ones to drop. It's going to keep things relatively close, but Fiery did drop slightly earlier, so his recovery is going to help the edge. But there he goes, along with Emrak. A Carly Bed will drop as well, though. Bit of a trade up there. And it still looks like it's in favor of El Dupa slightly. Chuckermint's recovery is coming through. Still two full FCs. Players are going to be careful of. Sutinator and Whitecap are very cool. We've got Krilla and Utami for El Dupa. Will any drop?
You see another couple of traded drops between Kriller and Fiery Rage, but Zutinator with that miss going to be, I think, the main determiner here for this map. Now, Utami and Whitecat are still matching combos at the moment, and if either of them breaks, that's really going to start to swing things one way or the other. You have matching combos on Emrek and Akalibed, but there goes Emrek now, and with both Akalibed and Chocomint with unmatched combos right now for El Dupa, this is a first pick gone awry for Very Cool, as only Whitecat able to hold on past that 700 combo mark. And unfortunately for Very Cool, El Dupa just absolutely crushing this first pick No Mod 1 out of Very Cool's side. Already 300,000 score up and climbing. There goes Chocomint's combo, but it doesn't really matter because Akalibed's is still unmatched here. Kriller and Zutinator with the matching combos means that that's just 700 free combo on Akalibed.
Yeah, the combo's free and it's quite high as well, which is just going to allow massive score gain. And it's just absolutely drilling home this idea that El Dupa, they have come to play today. They are on fire right now in terms of consistency. And it's a very well-deserved early break point. As Utami's just on something else today. That's back-to-back FCs. What's this guy on? 2 FCs. Semi-finals pool. Doesn't mean nothing. Don't worry about it.
Well, I mean, Utami is one of the best 1v1 players around right now. He's one of the best tournament players in general. Right after this match, he's going off to play a losers bracket finals in Course Ace Closed. Like, he has to be on his game today for that sort of matchup. And he is clearly on his game here as well. Looking very, very solid for his team on these first 2 picks. Like you said, back-to-back full combos now. And unfortunately, despite the full combo from White Cat on this map, the supporting score is really making the difference for El Dupa on that map. Fire Rage just not having a good time of this pick, and both Emrek and Zudinator not able to get the same level of scores as Akalibet and Kriller. And so not quite able to put up the same type of supporting scores that you need on a map like this, right? This is as close as it gets in seeding in the winners bracket for this weekend, and if you are not on your game, if you are not able to pull out those solid plays when you need them in this match, this is not going the way that you wanted it. And so at the start here, not looking the greatest for Very Cool. We'll see if they can pull it back though. Again, this is a team that has had some of the best scores on multiple different types of maps throughout the tournament so far. So it is a team that should be able to find some really solid picks later on into this match. That said, early 2-0 start for El Dupa looking very good for them. Now into their second pick, which is Xenobi Kill.
Yeah, kind of. Not completely surprised by this pick. It's understandable if you think about it, but it wasn't the path I believe they were going to go down. I was expecting them to just kind of stick on the speed that worked for them in the first map. But this is not a bad pick either. I think with Very Cool missing a core player like Bubble Man, their hidden roster is not as strong as it would be. And I think El Dupa are going to try and exploit that here.
I mean, if you know about Bubble Man and you know how he plays, you know he's not particularly a fan of the hidden mod, but he is still very good at it. There is a reason that he has been sort of at the top of tournaments in general for such a long time, and it's largely due to how well-rounded he is as a player. So still a very, very strong player on that hidden modification, just not his favorite. And I think you're probably right, is that a lot of this roster for Very Cool could be reliant on Bubble Man in ways that we wouldn't normally think about besides the speed rosters, right? So we'll see if that ends up impacting maps like this or maps like the alt tech picks that we kind of expect Very Cool to go into at some point during this match. With players like White Cat, Zudinator, Fiery Rage, those alt picks in particular look very, very strong for them, which was also why I'm a little bit surprised at this pick, because this is, at the end of the day, an alt map in Hidden. 164 BPM with the same types of really tricky aim control patterns that you usually tend to see in alt maps and no mod, baked all over the place into this map alongside kind of a linear flow aim requirement in this map. So very, very interested to see how this pick turns out, as, like you said, it is a little bit different from what we may have expected from El Dupa after how good they looked on that early speed pick. Utami, Akalibed, Chocomint, and Ikoro in for El Dupa, White Cat, Zudinator, Emrek, and Taquito in for Very Cool on El Dupa's second pick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at players like Chocomint and Ikoro, and I'm just like, this is their home. Utami as well. This sort of map is just so good for them. Akalibed going to find the first break here, and Ikoro as well. That is more of a surprise than Akalibed. So El Dupa already down quite a bit here. Very Cool, got an awesome opportunity to try and take advantage of this. They've still got all full combos on the board. Ooh, Tommy gonna be joining the the drop squad as a Carly Bed also finding a break. Koro gone as well. Triple break though for Very Cool. That is a triple reset. It's just Chocomint versus Zootinator, but that means there's no combo really on the side of El Dupa. They got a little bit because of the triple break, but it's just Utami trying to build it back up. But I don't think they can make up that difference. That is such a... Maybe they can. Maybe I'm wrong. That's massive.
There are some repeated breaks coming out of, for example, Emrek and Taquito at the moment. Utami and Akalibed holding a little bit better combo than some of the members of Very Cool, but there's only a quarter of this map left, and that is a 350,000 score lead. Akoro now dropping. Zootinator, however, finding the slider break for Very Cool is massive for them. That is the only full combo gone, and Chocomint still holding now for El Dupa. Still holding this FC going into the very last sliver of map. There's 200,000 score difference still remaining between these two teams. Even with the full combo, it might still not be enough. It's going to be close going into the ending. Repeated breaks from Akalibed might be enough to bring it back, but it's Chocomint missing at the end that's going to for sure keep it on the side of Very Cool. Less than 100,000 score for them, but very, very close there going into the ending with that break for Zootinator. Chocomint almost able to hold on to the FC until the end of the map, but the team consistency, you can see it in the bottom scores for these rosters, right around 500k for every member of Very Cool, but a couple members for El Dupa not quite as comfortable on the map, really making the difference and making that score lead for Very Cool on this map.
Yeah, I think the thing that hurt them in the end, El Dupa, was just the accuracies. You look and you compare and contrast, and El Dupa, they're down by an average like 2% accuracy on that map. Compared to Very Cool. So even though they had higher combo score, they just couldn't. They were out-act on a map like this. You know, Zootinator pretty much nullified a lot of Chocomint's score there. You know, Chocomint's accuracy was down past 97. You know, it was down in the 96s, and I think that did hurt in a little way. I think there was the score there to pull it back, but accuracy wins out today on that hidden 3.
And that's a pretty big score now for Very Cool, right? To be able to take that pick back and know, hey, we actually might be a little bit stronger on these types of alt picks and maybe hidden picks in general than El Dupa may have thought. Now, going into this hidden 1 pick for Very Cool, Dimension Dive by Silver Forest. It's not kind of what you would usually think of when you think about pattern aim and really awkward aim in hidden. Your typical hidden one usually having a lot of either polygonal aim or wide angle jumps or jumps that require you to go from very high spacing to very low spacing and back and forth very rapidly. And this is definitely the type of map to do that. Requires a really high mastery of both your aim control and hidden in general. Why you see players like Taquito in for this, maybe not necessarily known as an aim player, but a very, very strong hidden player and a very strong aim control player as well for Very Cool. Meanwhile, on the roster for El Dupa, players like Kriller, like Michni going in for this, I think is no surprise for this team, putting in the hidden specialists, putting in the players you would usually see go in for tech maps or alt maps, because that type of aim control is so baked into these awkward aim picks in hidden. Of course, keeping in Chocomint and Utami. Chocomint, the hidden main for this roster, likely to be in for all 3 hidden picks, or in this case, all 2, as the hidden 2 was banned out at the start of the match by Very Cool.
Yeah, and I think looking at this, I want to say that Very Cool have picked smart into here. It's a bit more mechanically focused hidden map. They should feel a bit more comfortable on it. I don't know, I just have a sinking feeling in my stomach that El Dupa might surprise here. And there are some early breaks from Emrek and Zootinator, but Michni also finding a break early on. Okay, lots of breaks coming in. There goes Whitecat as well. 4 breaks already. I didn't think the intro of this map was that brutal. But apparently I'm wrong.
These hidden one picks, man, deceptively hard. You see these types of linear jumps and just small jumps that you feel like should be easy, but when they've got massive wide spacing right after them, it becomes so much harder to really be consistent at them. Zoodinator and Whitecat giving perfect examples there of what we're talking about on this sort of map. Mitch needed to follow with a break of his own afterwards, but this is 3 FCs now for El Dupa in the first PI time, looking for some of them to drop for Very Cool's sake here, as now with Emrek dropping and Taquito dropping the combos as well, that is nobody left for Very Cool against these 3 FCs for El Dupa.
Well, I mean, it's El Dupa's map to lose at this point. I had a sinking feeling that this map might go in their favor, but I didn't think it was quite that accurate. You know what I mean? Chuckamint, Krilla, Utami, they're not struggling at all. Michny is trying to bring up the rear, but honestly has pretty decent ac, all things considered with the combo. And Very Cool just cannot compete. They keep finding breaks. As we find Emrek and Whitecat both finding breaks there. They are struggling right now.
Yeah, the accuracy for all 3 of these members really, really solid for El Dupa. Unfortunately, Shige going to be breaking the combo during this second PI time, but there's just nobody left on Very Cool's side to contest this combo. And you said it earlier, Demarsh, this is El Dupa's to lose. They would have to see utter collapse for everybody on the team for this to go awry at this point. 800,000 score up and climbing for El Dupa right now. Just almost unwinnable at this point for Very Cool. You can almost just call this pick at this point, despite there still being a quarter of the map left. These combos would all have to hold for Very Cool, and everybody would have to break for El Dupa right now, which just unfortunately for Very Cool is not going to happen. And yeah, another pick gone awry here at this point for Very Cool, with both of their first picks actually being won out by El Dupa. Very Cool being able to trade one back on that hidden 3 that we just saw, but man, this pick looking extremely strong for El Dupa. Kriller not quite going to finish out the FC. Utami to bring it into the ending, however, and to help them crest that 1 million score lead mark now. Up over 1 million score over Very Cool on this pick.
Oh, and they just couldn't quite break the 3 million. Oh, the tragedy. But despite that, I mean, just look at it. It's just combo. There is nothing else compare, really, on that map. The combos from El Dupa, from Krilla, from Chuckamint, from Utami, just unbelievable. Michny was actually probably quite a good choice there. Only really just having, I would say, almost consistent breaks. Would sort of build up the combo to like 300-400 and then just kept breaking, but still had one of the highest accuracies in the lobby. So definitely not a bad choice, just a bad run in that one. But very strong pick for El Dupa. Well, not even a pick, a break point, if you will.
Looking really, really solid for El Dupa out of the start of this match. We are going to be getting our second round of bans now. Both of these teams able to ban out a second map now, as we do have that staggered ban phase coming in after the first couple of picks. If you're Very Cool, you have to think that maybe banning out something like the Free Mod 2 might actually be in your interest after both No Mod 1 and Hidden 1 go the wrong way for you. At this point, you start to consider, okay, are we actually going to pick into the other AIM maps in this pool? And which of them are left? Because there's Double Time 1 and Free Mod 2 left that are actually jump maps in this map pool, which, you know, maybe you want to ban one of those out at this point, given how good El Dupa have looked on them in comparison to the roster from Very Cool, because even though Very Cool has had really, really strong scores on a lot of the AIM maps, for example, Whitecat full comboing No Mod 1 last weekend with 100, right? Looking at things like the Hard Rock 2 also as very, very solid picks for them. It just doesn't look as good in this match in particular. They are going to go with a free mod ban. They're going to be banning out that free mod 2 or free mod 1. Excuse me. Not necessarily what I would have thought, as that's one of the alt maps in free mod. One of the things that actually went well for them so far. A little bit of a different structure to the map than something like the Hidden 3, but still one of those aim control alt focus picks regardless. So very surprising ban actually from Very Cool. I would not have expected that to be the ban from them.
Yeah, and to be honest though, the more I start to look towards this pool, I don't know whether I favor Very Cool actually. That deceptive 3-1 score might actually just be Very Cool testing some of those 50-50 maps. I'm looking at stuff like No Mod 2, maybe Hard Rock 2 as well. I don't know how good their precision roster is with Bubble Man missing, but certainly some of these DT maps, I think they could flip quite strongly. And then, you know, No Mod 4's still up. There is some very strong maps, I think, for Very Cool that if they play their cards right, I think they've got some strong picks going forward. El Dupa might struggle to get any more breakpoints at this point.
Well, we'll have to see how well that holds up. We are going to be getting the next pick from El Dupa, so we'll be able to test that pretty soon here. Hard Rock 2 not going to be picked for Very Cool at the moment. It is going to be that Double Time 2 instead. We were talking about this at the start of the match. We saw that No Mod 5 first pick for El Dupa, going back into the speed now with this Double Time 2. For those of you who are familiar with watching bigger tournaments, you might know Double Time 2 as your kind of higher BPM stream map. This one about 230-ish, 231 BPM or so on this map. But not really a stream map. If you listen to this song at all, you'll hear lots of doubles, lots of quads, lots of 6-note strings, and those are all mapped as you would expect them to be. Not as streams, not as just normal bursts. It's all high BPM finger control in this map, and there is a significant stamina strain for a lot of the longer streams in this map, but punctuated by all of those finger control patterns, this one becomes very, very difficult to keep good accuracy on and to be able to keep stamina for this type of map.
Yeah, we're really looking for those players who have got good tapping mechanics on this map to come in for this. You've got to be fast. And you've got, like you said, keep the stamina really, you've got to have amazing stamina for these types of maps. These maps are going to really start to test you in those areas. So if you're not one of those stronger players, you might have a bad time on this. These maps are known to be quite brutal on those that can't play them. So it's about really trying to get a good solid roster out for this one. And looks like they've chosen theirs. Bearing in mind that this is El Dupa's third map pick going into this match, so definitely kind of those core 3 maps that we're expecting. Malteser, Okoro, Utami, and Chocomint. Chocomint's a bit of a surprise. Has not been known to be the speediest player in later days, but early on in his OS career was known as one of the best. Meanwhile, on the other side, Sawada, Zutinata, Takito, and Emrak. Again, some interesting players. Zutinate is always going to be a surprise, I think, because just not being known as that strong DT player in general. But has improved massively on speed, but whether it's enough, we'll have to wait and see. As we get into this one, but already see Zutinate as we kick this off. Really did not have the best of starts. An early break, as well as very low accuracy. unfortunately, on that side of the shot. A lot of players kind of struggling with the accuracy on this one. Chuckerman also has found a break.
Yeah, I am very surprised to see Zudinator in for this map. Of all players on this side of very cool. But I would expect her to just not go in for this. I think the rest of the roster mostly makes sense, but I feel like even somebody like White Cat, not necessarily the best speed player, would still do better on this than Zudi, who is just having a really rough go of this map right now. And unfortunately for very cool, won't be contributing much to the overall scoreline there. However, there are a lot of misses coming on for El Dupa at the moment. Malteser Aquaro trading misses there with Sawada and Zudi. And Chocolate with an earlier break in this map does mean actually maybe combo advantage for very cool. Taquito and Emrek doing their damnedest to bring this scoreline over to very cool's side and take the breakpoint. Utami trying to keep it on the side of El Dupa here with the only full combo in the lobby. The accuracy not treating his score too well. But the combo making up for it at the moment, just barely, as there goes Emrek's combo, and there goes the hopes for very cool to take this back, with only Taquito really matching combo for very cool now. Sawada, able to match the combo out of Malteser, but you've got better combo on both Aquaro and Chocolate now for El Dupa. This looks very, very good for them now with that break from Emrek.
Yeah, the breakpoint door, it was looking like it was going to close for very cool, but there goes Taquito as well. It's all just kind of fallen apart. Chocomin he just kind of exploded in the second half of that map, considering he got 89 AC. Over a 1k combo on that map is crazy good.
Yeah.
And Utami with the perfect FC as well. Utami's just on another planet. What else is there to be said?
He's been performing incredibly well through this match. I mean, sure, okay, dropped the combo on Xenobi kill, but then had the one miss with 950k on Hidden One. Just full comboed this as well, and started the match with a double full combo. So has full comboed 3 out of 5 picks and has gotten 900k or better on 4 out of 5 picks so far in this match. And on the semifinals pool, when you are in for every single map, that is an absolutely ridiculous performance for the side of very cool. Just kind of popping off for Utami as much as possible at the moment. This is a pick that I think we would have expected to see, though, from very cool at some point through this match. It is that no mod alt pick, no mod 3, all aim control, all low BPM flow aim and snap aim and changes between them. And in this map in particular, a really, really unstructured form of mapping. If you're familiar with the term Russian mapping, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But for those who are unfamiliar with it, if you know the mappers Delis or Mirage or Joneson, also known as Evil Elvis, they collabed on this map with RLC to make an alt map in the same style as they would usually make their, kind of trademark awkward aim picks for some lower or higher BPM songs, depending on how you think about it. So the type of aim control in this map is just so tricky to get right because there isn't that type of structure you usually expect. It's much more freeform, and it becomes much more difficult to be consistent on because of that.
I could just imagine them all just sort of combined in a voice call together, just going, how can we tweak this? How can we tweak this? How can we make this little aim bit harder? This little aim bit harder? I mean, this map, I believe I've seen this one before. It's a pretty awful hellscape, even for an alt player. I don't think that these players, even if they like the song, I still don't think they'll have a good time on this map because it's, like you said, this collab is it's devilish. It's devilish at best. So many different slight variations of the same sort of mapping style can make for a really interesting map. And I'm curious to see how this goes forward.
Yeah, I do think this is still a very good pick for very cool, even despite it, like you said, being really, really tricky, and just not something that you usually expect to see full combos on. Players like Fiery, like White Cat, Taquito, and Emrek, all extremely strong on these types of things. I mean, Taquito, kind of the flagship player for these types of really, really ridiculous aim control picks. Farms Twitter clips of maps like this and like some of the tech maps that you see that just have absolutely absurd streams in them, right? So very, very solid inclusion for the roster here for very cool on this sort of map, to say nothing of the other three players that are currently in, some of the best alt players in the game at the moment. But dupa has just been popping off, right? And that's kind of my worry, is that they are having such a good match for this team. Utami aside, I mean, the rest of this roster has still had really, really solid plays on just about everything. Eventually going to find the first miss for either team, but still 7 full combos on the board otherwise.
Yeah, and I think that just sums up the raw star power on both these teams. All it takes is for one player to just have an exceptional day, and there's a triple break for very cool. That's not cool at all, actually. I'm very sure dupa might actually just flip this. A long way to go, though.
Well then,
Combo.
Yeah, that's all the combos gone for very cool. And now that is Ikoro and Utami still full comboing for dupa. And again, that was kind of the worry for just this match in general, is dupa has been absolutely destroying it. Before this match, dupa had not lost a map in the bracket stage and are kind of continuing to show that dominance here. I mean, we've seen very cool just put up absolutely incredible scores on tons of different types of maps, but really seeing dupa here just crush this semifinals pool so far has been a spectacle to watch. We'll see if they can make it through the second PI time, though. This is where the map really picks up, and it's where we saw that three-way break for very cool earlier. All of them with recovered combos at the moment, but it means nothing in the face of the double full combo from Utami and Ikoro, still going strong for dupa right now. And unless those two break, this pick is not looking very good for very cool. And at this point, Demarche, we have to start talking about what happens if dupa is at match point now, because it's looking incredibly likely that that's where they're going to be after this map. We do see a break from Utami. Good for very cool, but not so good the breaks for White Cat and Emrek to match, leaving only Fiery and Taquito with intact combos now. Not at all able to match the combos coming out of dupa.
Yeah, I mean, assuming Ikoro doesn't break here, just testing it. No, okay, just checking. There goes White Cat, though. You're right, dupa, they're gonna potentially pick up this another breakpoint here. I didn't realize Krilla had over 1k combo. What?
Yeah.
I mean, they've got so much of the pool left. I don't think they're all that worried about it, to be honest. I guess they'll just pick whatever they want. They've probably got a map in hand as White Cat and Emrek find another break there. Fire into Taquito have had a good recovery, but Ikoro is just... What is this dupa team? All it takes is for one of them to have a good day, and they're just outscaling very cool, which is not something I thought I'd say, to be honest, about this tournament. But there you go, it's 5-1.
And this is just an absolute ridiculous scoreline for dupa here. 900k from Ikoro on the full combo is just absurd, honestly. Utami still second best score for the team on this map, has been in for all 6 picks and has been a key member for every single one of them. The only map they lost for dupa was the only other map where Utami did not get over 900k. Ikoro there to pick up the slack this time around, but yeah, this has just been an absolute ridiculous performance for dupa. looking as strong as they have, honestly, throughout the rest of the bracket stage. I mean, this is a team who, at this point, they've only lost one map, and it's been to Very Cool in this match. They have won every other pick throughout the tournament from round of 32 up until now. So this is an incredibly strong showing from them, and something that Very Cool, unfortunately, does not want to be finding themselves on the other end of, but is going to be finding themselves on the other end of here as we get potentially the last pick to come through now for El Dupa, if they place it well. Very Cool definitely does still have the chance to bring some of this back. Demarche, I feel like we're just going to see the Double Time 3 come through at this point, because with how well Nomad 5 and DT2 both went, I think it would be silly to risk a different type of pick when you have something so similar in that DT3 slot ready to go for you.
Yeah, it's definitely strong. I think the maps they've got to try and avoid is DT4. Okay. Probably not the map I was expecting. It was actually one of the ones I was going to suggest maybe is a bit risky. This sort of map plays very well into Very Cool's strengths, I think. I don't know if they'll change their lineup much from that they've got in already, but interesting choice from El Dupa.
Yeah, this is a map that was picked for the people, I feel like, because this song and this map are just absolutely ridiculous to watch. Just a map that is really, really tricky all throughout. I mean, it's essentially speed tech on high approach rate. This is going to be about 217, 218 BPM, tech streams, slider aim, all at AR 10.3 with finger control included, similar to that DT2 pick that we saw earlier. So if you're not super comfortable on this sort of map or at this BPM or with the approach rate or the reading on this type of map, you are not going to have a good time with this map. It is a type of pick that combines so many different skill sets, it becomes hard to think of players who are actually going to be good at it. And I think that is something that El Dupa really are going to try to take advantage of. Players like Kriller and Utami, who have been A, having a very good match, and B, known throughout the tournament scene for being those type of really solid all-rounder players who have those tons of different skill sets all wrapped up into one player who can really put up solid scores on any type of map. For the side of Very Cool, I think the only surprise to see in for this map would be Fiery Rage. Takedo, Whitecat, and Emrek, all very, very strong high approach rate reading players, and very solid on these types of tech maps as well. So Wada coming in, I think, makes a lot more sense. Definitely going to have not only the speed cap, but the high approach rate reading cap to deal with this sort of map, which I think is kind of the main draw of this pick. If you cannot read this, if you are not comfortable at AR 10.3, not just with jumps, not just with farm patterns, but with tech patterns at high BPM, it is not going to go well for you.
Like, also, let's not beat around the bush. This map you'd consider clip farm. I think that should be a slot in tournaments going forward, is just the clip farm slot. As Kriller will find the first break for El Dupa. Takedo going to be training up just after that, though. That's good for El Dupa. So they'll probably be able to hold a slight lead eventually with the Kriller combo if they can keep it up. Whitecat's kind of going to open the door for them, but Malteser will trade it up, though. So Very Cool just hanging on to their lead barely here, I think purely by accuracy, as Whitecat finds a second break and a third.
Taking stock of the combos here, we do still have the double full combo intact for both teams. Akalibed Nutami versus Sawada and Emrek at the moment. Kriller on not too far behind of a combo. Same for Takedo. Malteser and Whitecat to almost match combos, but it is slight combo favoring El Dupa on both of those supporting members. The accuracy right now, I believe, in favor of Very Cool just a bit on this sort of map, and that is what's keeping the score on their side at the moment, is that accuracy lead that they have on those full combos. We'll see if they're able to hold on to it here going into the second half of the map now, as this is just the most tenuous of positions for both teams. Any breaks from either side going to be able to swing the score lead over, and there's a double break for a Kalibed and Malteser. Taquito to match the break out of Very Cool, but that is one of the full combos down for El Dupa. Both of them still holding strong for Very Cool. So Wada gonna drop afterwards. Kriller on a better supporting combo now compared to Whitecat, gonna be able to bring the score over to El Dupa's side. It is all on Emrek and Whitecat right now for Very Cool. If they can hold, and we see a break from either Kriller or Utami, this will still go over to Very Cool. It's going to have to come soon within this next quarter of the map, though, as we are getting into the ending at this point. Just every pattern in this map so incredibly easy to break on. Emrek and Kriller trade breaks on the stream, but that is the FC gone for Very Cool. And Utami still holding once again for El Dupa. He has been the flagship player for this team throughout this match, and it looks like he's going to be able to close this one out for them as well, going into the last sliver of map with this FC still intact, with the soon-to-be 6-1 scoreline on his back.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Utami must be an alien. He's escaped from Area 51 to play OSU tournaments, and that's what the man can do. That is a ridiculous FC. Of all of the ones he's pulled off today, because he's had like 4, right? That's the craziest one. By far. It's not even close.
Yeah, I just want to take a look at the MP link to remind people how absurd this is. 2 full combos to start off the match for him. The one pick they lose is the one pick where he gets below 600k on Zenobi kill. The FC for Chocolate on that map, not enough to bring it back, unfortunately. But then full combos, or one misses the hidden one afterwards for 950k on that map. Full combos double time 2, get 600k on the Nomad 3, and then full combos this map. I mean, 600k or above on everything, and 900k or above on 5 out of 7 maps. Just an absolute beast performance for Utami in this match. To say nothing of all the supporting scores that we saw for El Dupa in this match, because the scores from, for example, Kriller, with 720k on that last map alongside the 500k for both the Kalibed and Malteser. Ikoro getting that 900k on Humanoid to carry the pick, along with 640k and 600k-ish for Chocolate and Malteser on the DT2. The 850k from Kriller on Hidden 1 to support Utami's score, right? All of these other scores that went into it for this team definitely contributed to the victory, but this has been a really, really ridiculous sort of performance for Utami, and definitely the standout player for this team during this match.
Yeah, I mean, you know, credit to Very Cool. They did try and battle El Dupa, but I mean, I think both teams were down a player, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So
Rufus missing for El Dupa and Bubbleman missing for Very Cool. So unfortunately, not able to pull it off for Very Cool in this match. Sorry to interrupt you, Demarsh, but we are just going to see Nomad 4 get played between these two teams real quick, just for fun. We do have a couple of minutes left until our next matchup starts at 16 UTC. That match is going to be between Banana Bread and Tofu Gang in the losers bracket. Those would be seed number 10 and seed number 9 out of qualifiers, so 2 of our other top 10 teams facing off in the losers bracket weekend, as one does in semifinals, with all of the stacked teams all fighting for that top 6 placement. So we will be able to see one of them face off in that matchup, as unfortunately the players decide to not leave somebody in slot 1. There we go. So yeah, stick around after this. We'll see the next set of matches between Banana Bread and Tofu Gang at 1600. And in the meantime, we'll take a look at this Nomad 4, one of the slider tech picks here. Just played for fun between these two teams.
Well, I love the fact that because they've done it this way, El Dupa apparently have a massive score advantage despite being a player down. Because that's how this client works. And I'm all for it. And I think it's actually going the other way. That's very cool. They're having a very good day on this map. I'm surprised they didn't pick this out of all their picks. I still thought this was a very strong map for them, even when they didn't have players even when they didn't have Bubble Man, but apparently not. And it looks like I think everyone apart from Krilla has broke. I want to say.
Yeah, that would be the only full combo left in the lobby at this point. Everybody else having broken on this map. And for good reason. I mean, you're seeing a lot of the types of streams that you have in this map, in addition to the slider aim on this. Just kind of a ridiculous pick. Kriller to be the only one to full combo is kind of expected given how well he has been performing as well. I think if you're going to point to a player who had the next best performance on El Dupa today, it would probably be Kriller, one of the other all-rounders who was in for just about every map and kind of showing off on this one, man. Almost 99% on the full combo at the end of the map for Kriller. Just a really, really solid overall game for him in this match. And while that wasn't 2.6 million team score, I think that actually was the 3v4 for El Dupa. Just really ridiculously strong team here in the semifinals.
I also think Fiery DC'd as well.
Well, that is going to do it for us. Again, the win for El Dupa here. Very, very solid team who has shown off here just how strong they can be, I think. Absolutely incredible performance for them during this match overall, and a very, very scary opponent for whoever finds them in the winner's bracket next. That said, we're going to be ending it off here. Well, I say ending it off. We're going to be switching over to another match. It's going to be Banana Bread versus Tofu Gang, starting in just about a minute. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back with that next matchup. Thank you to everybody for watching, and we'll be back soon with another one for you.